Hi, I'm Deborah Atkinson, host of the Flipping 50 podcast and the Flipping 50 TV show. And I've got a couple notes here from some subscribers who've asked questions that I'm going to deem frequently asked questions. And I want to make sure that there's an easy place for you to come and find them. So keep coming back if you've got a question that you think probably has been answered before. Or send me a line, connect with me on some social platform and ask me your question, and I'll look for it and answer it. So the question here is, can you recommend some shoes? What are some good quality shoes that would be great for starting out if you're looking for a new pair for great foundation for exercise? So, Michelle, this is a great question, and obviously, think about this. It's like the foundation on a house. What's going on at your feet has a domino effect on every other joint, and think about all the joints we're talking about. So actually, your feet are one spot that as a trainer we look at to see what's going on with your feet, and then what's going on with your ankle, separating those two. What's going on at your knee, what's going on at your hip, your lower back, your upper back, your scapula, shoulder blades, shoulders, and your cervical spine. All of those things are as a result potentially of what's going on in your feet. So your footwear is really important. So let's talk about it. I can't give you an answer to the question, is the short answer here. The longer answer is this. It's not about what's a good shoe, what's a high quality shoe. It's about what kind of a foot do you have. So here's how I mean by this. You want to take your shoes off, and you may already know this about yourself, what kind of a foot you have. If you've got an extremely high arch, you've got an extremely narrow foot, or extremely wide one, you already know this because shopping for shoes is a problem. If you are a medium width and you're a B, and you're of an average size, you don't have a problem shopping for shoes. You have a problem sometimes finding them in your size. The rest of you, with that finicky kind of foot, actually have an easier time when it's sale time. You can find yours out there for sale because fewer people have that kind of a foot. But what we want to know is, do you have a flatter foot? Do you have a really high arch? Or do you have kind of a neutral foot? Kind of a medium, moderate arch. And then imagine this was my foot. If you have a really high arch, a lot of times what we're going to say is that you're also pronating, meaning that you're supinating. Okay, let's erase. So you're supinating, meaning the arches of your feet really show underneath. So you're turning this direction. If you have a flatter foot, you tend to most likely pronate. And you kind of roll in on your ankles just a little bit. So this is how there's a domino effect. And so if your ankle rolls in a little bit, there happens to be a little bit more stress on the knee. We're pulling the inside or medial side of the knee down. The outside of the leg is a little bit longer. So back to the importance of your shoe. What you want that shoe to do is help you come back into neutral. So if you ordinarily are a flat foot like this, your best shoe is going to help you come back here. If you have a high arch, your best shoe is going to support you in here. It's not going to change anything because that's your structure. And we want to just make sure you're extremely comfortable where you are and have arch support so there's not a lot of stress. If you have a neutral foot, it's probably a little bit easier. You want to just make sure you're buying a neutral shoe. So every brand of footwear, whether you love Asics or Saucony or Brooks or Nike, and I know I'm going to leave someone out, so there are dozens, right, if not hundreds of shoes. What you're looking for is in that shoe line, which one is your stability shoe, meaning someone with a flat foot needs that stability. Which one is the more flexible shoe? And so many shoes that have come out in the last few years are extremely flexible. They're not ideal for someone with a flat foot, and as long as they have an arch support, they may be okay for somebody with a higher arch. So what you want to do is not think about walking into a shoe store finding the shoe brand, but think about finding the shoe store that will fit your foot. One way to know what kind of foot you have, if you're not sure and you really have randomly bought your shoes up until this point, take your shoe off, take your sock off, get it wet, kind of walk through a puddle or step into the bathtub, and then step out on a paper sack and leave your footprint and then step off of it and look and see what happens. Can you see this drastic missing space where the arch of your foot is? That'll suggest that you have a big gap and you've got a very high arch. If you can almost see your entire foot like you would put your hand down on the paper, you've got a much flatter foot. And if you can see your toes, the ball of your foot, you can see a line between that and your heel, you probably have kind of a neutral foot. So it's a little bit easier for you. So that tells you what kind of a foot you need, or a shoe you need. More flexible, or a stability, or simply a neutral shoe. So that said, go in and shop. Find a store that will recommend you the shoe that's right for you and that will let you try it. Actually exercise in it. If not, run up and down the hallway in the store or hop on a treadmill in the store and still let you return it within a few days and up to a month. Some stores will do. They're that good and they believe that much in the service. They're going to try not to let you out the door with the wrong shoe. So invest in a good pair from a really reputable store before you ever go online shopping. If you find one that works, don't fix it if it's not broken. Shoes do wear down. So if you're wearing it for a lot of mileage, you're walking very frequently or jogging a lot, you might want to try 2 pair to alternate. The shoe does need to breathe a little bit. So don't exercise in it and then wear it all day too. Get separate shoes if you like your fitness shoe to be something you wear because you're on your feet a lot at work, and if you can get away with that, fantastic. But make sure that you give your shoes a little breathing time. And then anywhere between 300 and 500 miles, they break down, depending on how hard you're beating on them. A lot of high impact exercise, if you weigh a significant amount, it's probably going to break down a little bit sooner for you. Now you might retire that fitness shoe and wear it around just to garden and walk the dog, but don't exercise in it because remember, you need that great support. Don't try to make them last. This is much more important than say what you're wearing up here or here. So hope that helps answer the question about what kind of shoe you need. And then you can always find a discount store online to buy that same model in shoe size. And last thing I'll mention is size. So if you're a runner, think about getting at least a little space, about 1/2 inch between the end of your toe and the end of your shoe. Don't try to get a cuter, smaller size. Get one that gives you room. So later in the afternoon, if you're exercising then, your foot has swollen. So you're going to need a little bit more room. And if you're exercising for 30 minutes or 40 or more, your foot is also going to swell. So give it that room. When you're running, doing higher impact activity, you need the room in the shoe. And you're going to be glad you did. Your toes will be much more comfortable. And when you're comfortable with exercise, you're going to continue and rinse and repeat much more often and get better results while you do it. I'll see you on the flip side. Send me your questions.